the time and space to give yourself a break. Here you'll find some love, music, laughter, and above all, she'll dare to tell the truth. And so come to Granny's place and give your spirit a big move.
Welcome to Granny's Place, a haven for love, entertainment, and uncommon sense. I'm Sweet Baby James, and I'm here to introduce you to Granny Rocks. The theme of tonight's show, how to feel self-love when everything goes wrong. And so now, here's Granny.
Hello. Do you notice that I'm wearing red? You know why I'm wearing red? Because it's Valentine's Day. Now you're going to look at me and say, but it's not Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day was Wednesday. I know, but we're pretending it's Valentine's Day because we're pretending it's Wednesday because we were supposed to stream on Wednesday, but everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. Now, I was supposed to be talking about love and self-love. Now, I'm going to ask you, guess, how much self-love do you think this crew had when everything went wrong? And first, I understand that for the first 15 minutes, I'm talking away and singing, playing the piano, and thinking everything is going beautifully. And then I find out there was no sound. So then we had to stop, and then it turns out there was a Windows update, and then there was a Wirecast update, and there was this update, and that update, and before you knew it, the computer was down, down, down. And everybody felt terrible. Why? Because we had invited our friends, and we have fans, and they came, and they wanted to see Granny's Place, and instead they saw me going, and then they saw nothing, and we felt like total failures. We're failures. We've lost our entire viewership of 3 people. They'll never come back, even though they're all our relatives, and so they'll find out. No, actually, I'm lying about that. We do have some viewers, or we used to have some viewers. We don't know. And they definitely are not my relations.
Oh,
are they
in the
yours?
hundreds, no less.
Yes. And that's not bad for a start, huh?
Yeah.
So anyway, so we thought, oh, everyone's disappointed and they're never going to come back. And I'm not going to tell anybody that we're going to redo this. So first we were crushed, and then we figured it out. And then we said, let's redo it on Friday night. So here we are. And it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day. We are in love. Well, okay, so now I'm going to tell you, so it's the self-love topic, but before I get to the self-love topic, we started last time with some compassion for those people who are alone, didn't have a Valentine, and wish they did. Now, there's a lot of people who do not have Valentines, partners, mates, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and they're happy. Oh, thank God. I'm out of those miserable relationships. Oh, yes. But there are people who feel lonely. I felt lonely before James. I'm not saying I was never married before, but I was still lonely. Now, I'm just annoyed. That means I'm not lonely anymore,
You
right?
got company.
And he's annoyed too, and that's love. Now,
Not all the time.
so at the time, we did some compassion for those people who felt alone that night, and we hope that you would cuddle up with Granny's Place and feel some love, and we abandoned you too. We promised to be there for you on Valentine's Day. I've been stood up before. Have you? We stood you up.
We didn't mean to.
No, we didn't. We're so sorry, really. I mean, we're embarrassed, we're ashamed. Okay, so then afterwards, we have to have a meeting about what went wrong. Whose fault was it? Now, have you ever been in a situation where things went really south and nobody wanted to find someone to blame? Oh, come on. There's got to be someone to blame. Now we know we can blame technology. Oh, thank God it wasn't us like it would have made a difference because we still didn't show up. But it made a difference to us because we can't stand hating ourselves because we're at fault. You too? Anybody out there know what I'm talking about? You know, oh my God, things are not good. Is it my fault? Oh, I hope it's somebody else. Oh, I hope it's somebody else. So now we get to hate them instead of ourselves. Isn't that lovely? You know, when we hate other people, that really increases the amount of love on the planet. Don't you think so? So we had to try to keep ourselves going, and we had to learn something. And so now I want to share with you some of what we learned and what I've been thinking about love. So the first thing I want to say about love is, what is it, right? And I started thinking that there's two kinds of love. The love of grab me, I want something. I mean grab for me. I didn't mean grab me. That's for later. I meant for, I want to grab for me. Grab for me. I want that. And I love it. Oh, I love that piano. Oh, I love that chocolate. Okay, now I asked myself sincerely, is that love? Or is it, I'm not going to say this is true of you, just pigginess or appreciation? You know, what is that? And what is the distinction between that and love? And it came to me, and you may disagree, you're allowed. Love is about caring. It's not just being attracted to something or enjoying it. And so I love my piano means I love the sound of my piano. It makes me so happy. I love chocolate because I love the taste. I love Paris in the winter because, I don't know, I heard the song. Anyway, whatever it is that you think, I love football. I do not love football, but somebody loves football. Oh, I love football. Why? Because it gives you a rush, it gives you something. So it's something that it gives to us, and we call that love. But maybe that isn't love. Maybe that's appreciation. And we can continue to say the word love. It's okay. I'm not trying to change your vocabulary. But supposing we wanted to talk about real love. Love means when Granny's Place doesn't show up on Wednesday night, you come back and you try again. You support us. You send us love when you see that we're freaking out, when nothing is going right. That's love. When you care about someone or something, it's not just good enough to love a puppy if you don't feed it, if you kick it. Oh, I love my children. Of course, I beat them regularly and scream at them because I can't stand their presence in the house. But I love them. I chain them to the furniture. But I love my children. See, that's a kind of interesting thing, isn't it? See, that's an ego love, if I can use a 3-letter word. So, because, see, ego love is, I love it the way it makes me feel to have children. Oh, I love babies until they start waking me up in the middle of the night because I get to. Now, I'm not saying some people really don't love babies. That's not what I'm talking about. That's real love. I'm talking about people who want to say, I have a baby, or think that somehow makes them better or something, I love that guy because he takes me out in his Mercedes-Benz. Oh, I love that. Now, supposing he loses all his money, he's gotten fat, and he has a stroke. Well, do I still love him? I don't know. I don't even know if I would. But you see what I'm saying? So love is really about the desire to give and to care about something or somebody going beyond ourselves. That's what's so fantastic about love. It kind of makes us go beyond our a-hole selves. See, now, after our show that didn't happen and we were all freaking out, I could have yelled at our engineer, even though it wasn't her fault, but who else could I blame? But I looked at that face, and I saw the person, and I saw the pain, and I was like, I had to care, because I love her, so we're trying it again. See what I'm talking about? That's love. That's love. When you start kissing your chocolate and caring about how it feels, then you love your chocolate. See? That's it. You gotta care. I love America, but I don't really care for the people in it. I love my sports team, except when they're losing. Right?
Yeah.
I love the staff at my company, except when they screw everything up. And what does that do? It makes me look bad. And is there anything worse than looking bad? Far worse than being bad is looking bad, as we well know. Okay, now you're sitting here thinking, well, I signed on for this. Where's the self-love part? You're talking about love. Well, you gotta get the love part to get the self-love part, because the self-love part has to do with loving yourself. Okay, I could go on for hours about what the self is, but fortunately, we don't have the time. So, I'm talking about self-love. I mean that I care enough about myself to care about how I feel. Oh my God, that can't be. Can I love myself when I am not performing well, when I'm limping, when I've gained weight, when I'm losing my hearing, when I've lost my job, when I'm not providing, when my wife or my husband leaves me, my partner, I don't care what gender, Can I love myself then? See, do you really care about how you feel? Or do you care more about how you look? When you put your clothes on in the morning, do you say, how does this feel? Now, I'm not saying that nobody does this. I'm just asking you. Do you say, how does this feel? Or do you say, how does this look? Now, if you gave me a penny for every woman who is out there wearing uncomfortable clothes, I would be the richest person on the earth. Right? Whether it's the shoes, don't get me on the topic of high-heeled shoes, or it's the pants that are too tight, or it's the, I'm not going to mention, I think I'm allowed to say this, the bra that's pushing your up, cutting you under the breast, right? Or squeezing in your stomach, or teeter-tottering as you're walking, or putting that makeup on, getting that mascara in your eyes, going for Botox. How does that feel? So I'm talking on now on the simplest superficial level of literally dressing. So think about it. When you get up tomorrow, if it's tomorrow, it could be today, depending on where you are in the world right now, you get up and you put on your clothes, say, how do I feel in this? Do I feel free? Can I breathe? Can I even think? I never have been able to understand how women executives can manage, because sometimes the way they dress, I think that they're squeezing their brains out. But hey, who am I to criticize? But I'm not criticizing. I'm saying, do you love yourself? If you're uncomfortable, get rid of it. Put on something that makes you comfortable, that makes you functional, that makes you happy. Now, I don't mean you can't look good. Pretty colors or style or whatever it is that's important to you. I've never been much for clothes, honestly. But anyway, a lot of people, it's important to them. It helps them feel good about themselves. Well, feel good about yourself, but feel good. Now, this is not just about clothes. Do I care about how I feel about anything? How do I really feel when that guy or a woman or a trans person touches me? How many of you are not feeling good? And are you talking about it? Do you have enough self-love to talk to your lover or person or mate or the person who was your lover 20 years ago when you could still remember how to do it? And do you say, how are we both feeling? You know, I want to know how you feel. I want to talk about how I feel. How come we've gotten into this rote thing? But no, you can't do that. See, you can't really talk about how you feel, can you? Oh no, because there are only certain things you're allowed to feel in this world. And maybe you don't feel happy, and maybe you feel miserable, and maybe you feel oppressed, and maybe your mate is trying to squelch you or yell at you or anything like that, but you don't want to get a divorce and look like your mother, the one who married 7 men or couldn't hold one. Oh no, you don't want to look like her, do you? No. Or you don't want to look like an abandoning woman who's going to abandon her children. I mean, I'm just talking a couple of things, right? Just pointing out a couple of ways in which we are afraid to even know how we feel because we might have to do something that will make us look bad to someone, even if it's just myself. See, now that woman who's poking her eyes out with the mascara and getting the Botox and the things in the lips or whatever that stuff is, she'll say, I'm not doing this for anyone. I'm doing this for myself. Bull. Why do I say that? Where did you get the idea that women are supposed to look like that? Where did you get the idea that women are not supposed to have pubic hair? Somewhere. Do you think you were born with that? Oh yes, at a day old, you started pulling out your pubic hair because it was unsightly. So obviously, what's in our heads about that we think is us so often isn't even from us. That we got it from some magazine, from some TV show, from some mother. Oh, my mother, she was so obsessed with fat. I mean, she was like eensy beensy. But if she had any fat on the eensy beensy, she'd get crazy. Well, I grew up the same way. Oh my God, that was like one of the worst things you could ever say to a person. You're fat. Or that I could say to myself, oh, I'm so fat. Even if I'm healthier or comfortable, or I can't help it, or I'm sick, or it's just my body is like that, it doesn't make any difference. See what I'm talking about? Self-love. Self-love means we get away from all the ideas. Okay. I am supposed to be a professor, a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief. No, that's not in it. Take out the Indian chief. That has no status. The Native American, but anyway, you understand. So, why do I go into this profession? Maybe it's because somebody else thought it was good and somebody said, you have to take care of your family and you'll never do it if you're an artist. Can you even remember? You know what I'm saying? Can you even remember when you started getting your values and started deciding who to be in your life? And where did it come from? Now, self-love requires us to go back to square one and ask ourselves, do I want to be here? Do I want to be doing this? Oh, God, that is so threatening. My whole life could fall apart if I really loved myself enough to ask myself how I feel. Now, I'm going to say something that contradicts everything I've said before, right? Sometimes I'm miserable because I am a mess, and there's really nothing wrong with the world that I'm living in, or my marriage, or my kids. or anything, but I'm so anxiety-ridden that I think everything is out to get me, or I'm a mess inside. Well, doesn't it take self-love to say, you know, Granny, you're a mess today. I wonder what's going on that you're so anxious. It's not out there. You can't change it by changing. You can't go through. Now, it's not true for me. I had to go through several husbands before I got the right one. But sometimes we are the biggest cause of our problems and our pain, right? And if we have self-love, we are willing to acknowledge that, because then maybe we can do something about it. But if we're worrying about how we look, oh my God, how do I look to myself? I can't admit that I'm a nutcase. Oh no, it has to be them, him, her, it. You're beginning to get the idea of why self-love is so tough. First, I'm always judging myself from the outside about how things look, what the consequences are going to be. Like, oh my God, if nobody accepts the fact that we screwed up our show and they won't come back. Oh well. I could start a lemonade stand on the corner instead. Maybe I'll bring my piano out there. And then there's the piece about maybe I'm doing the wrong things, and if I loved myself, I would do things that people would not approve of. Oh my God. I might go out with someone of the wrong race, or the wrong religion, or the wrong gender. Or I might have to look at myself and see maybe the source of my misery is right here. And where is that coming from? And all of this takes self-love. You know what else takes self-love? And I shudder to even bring it up. Asking people for feedback. They might tell me. Please, don't tell me. Someone has a question.
Well, don't most of us want others to just prop up our egos?
Yes, very good point, sweet baby James. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I can't hit the E anymore because it booms. Oh well, who needs an E? I just went down to a D. Okay. We think we're getting loved. I've been talking about not being loving, and I haven't even gone into it because now I've been talking about self-love. But loving somebody means we have to be willing to be as honest with them as we are with ourselves. Hopefully, that's all around. That means that if we see some loved one really making a mess, we have to tell them, even if that means they get angry. See, that's love. You love somebody, you tell them what you see. You're not always right, but you try. Now, if you're just trashing them because you've had a bad hair day, that's not the same thing. But if you see it and you don't say it, you're probably just protecting your butt, because you don't want them to not like you anymore. Because how many of us have accepted admiration, obedience, loyalty, something else rather than love? So that ego, right? You make me feel so safe. Your millions make me feel safe, or your arms make me feel safe, or you being dumber than me makes me feel safe, or whatever it is, you make me feel safe, and I love you. Come on. Is that love? Is that love? Is it, am I really caring about you, or am I just trying to continue your existence so that my safety doesn't go away? Not a good thing, huh? And if you come and you flatter me, oh, I love it. But see, now we're back to the chocolate. I love the experience of eating chocolate. I love the feeling that I have when I eat chocolate. Not the feeling I have later when I can't put my pants on anymore, but the feeling of eating it. I love it. It's the same thing with flattery, guys. I love flattery when I'm getting it. It makes me feel so good. Is that love? Am I taking the flattery and kissing it and putting it to bed at night and saying, how are you feeling? Aren't you sick of being flattery? Why don't you turn into self-awareness? If I really loved flattery, I would care about it. I'd say, you know, you need a new job. So the truth, a lot of the stuff that we call love isn't, is it? It's security, or it's obedience, or it's flattery, or it's admiration. And I don't really care about you unless you continue giving me what I want. Now, I'm not saying there aren't relationships that need to end. Of course there are. And that's okay. You know, sometimes it's time. You know, you've been good together or you've been lousy together and it's time to call it a day. That's fine. But I'm talking about when the foundation of a relationship is not caring, it's not love. And when the foundation of our relationship with ourselves is not caring, it's not love. It's ego. It's pride. It's vanity. It's looking good to the Joneses, looking good to ourselves. It's getting ahead. In our world today, and I know you know this, there isn't enough love, is there? There are so many people suffering, and it's just getting worse. The administration wants to cut health care to the poor. But hey, what do the poor need health care for? I mean, in fact, if they died, it would be cheaper all around. So we want more health care for the mentally ill so that we never have to do gun control. But at the same time, we're going to take away mental health. Health care for women. I mean, who needs those things, right? That's not love. Don't ever let anybody puff you up and tell you how great you are when they're not caring for you and when they're not caring for us. And now we are going to end, right, with a snippet from a song that I wrote that's in my CD, Rumblings of Revolution, which you can download free on the internet at grannyrockson.com. The whole song, it's called Love is What's Worth Fighting For, and we're just going to play a snip of it to end our show. And I hope that you have gained a little insight into self-love and that you're more dedicated than ever to having it. It'll make you a more loving person too, because you'll notice when you're not being loving.